feel in this moment? Did you feel that meditation? Together we created this sacred space. We called forth peace. We called forth understanding. It doesn't have to happen just in this room, and no one has to guide you through it. That's the truth. And as we're facing this transition time, and for those of you who were on live stream and you didn't read the email that we sent out, or you weren't here last week, I will be moving on. And I want you to be excited about this opportunity. I want you to get in co-creation mode with one another and hold in your groups and in your personal conversations this vision of what's to come. Because I feel it. I'm getting those chills again. I keep telling you, every time I tell somebody about this experience I'm having, or I tell people about this, I'm stepping aside to make a space, to make a void, because we know the universe abhors a vacuum. So when you make a space, the universe is going to fill it. And I'll tell you the truth. I feel like part of the reason why I'm being led to consider relocating is so that I'd be willing to step aside, because I love this community so much. And it's time. It's time to blossom. That's why the talk is really called Blossom You and not Muddy. But anyway, we'll just go with that today. But I want to invite you. The board has embraced an accelerated plan. And they feel strongly that it can be done. Now, Unity Worldwide is going to try to talk them out of it. They're going to say, you need more time. And that may happen. That may unfold. But I want you to let your thoughts and your words and your actions say yes, yes,
yes,
yes to this opportunity. Because I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be phenomenal. I don't know who it is. I don't know when it'll be. But I know this. It's the divine right appointment for this community at this time. And I know that with every fiber of my being, and I hope that you're feeling that with me right now, because it is true. And yes, Jack teared up, and I'm tearing up a little bit, but it's not sadness. It's joy. Do you know you can cry from joy? Yes, you can cry because you know joyfully when truth is there. So, September 15th is going to be my last day on staff, and I won't be visible after that, but Jack knows he can call me, and I'll support in any way I can, except in the transition activities. Those have to remain separate, and there's a really good plan, and for those of you who are interested in being involved in that activity, we have a package, we can give you a copy of that. So commit with joy to what's coming next. You can have mixed feelings, that's okay. Maybe you are a little bit perturbed. What do I think she's doing right now? But believe me, trust, trust, trust. That this is for the greater good. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's about a bigger picture, and it will unfold. I promise you. And if it doesn't for some reason, you can just call me and tell me how it's not unfolding. But you have to wait till the first of the year until there's time for the plan to unfold. But the universe knows. Just like when I was led here, you know, people were like, oh, that takes a lot of courage to sell your house and move where you don't know anybody. I'm like, no, it was already in divine order. It just happened in flow. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. So last week, I introduced the sacred symbol of the unalome. And I explained, I broke it down part by part, but I'm going to review it really quickly for those of you who weren't here. So the spiral at the bottom, the spiral has, since ancient times, been meant to represent regeneration, renewal, creativity. Some say that this is coming into the human experience. The definition in Buddhism is the entire philosophy of human existence in this symbol. Because once you have that regenerating, get that generating activity, then you go, oh, I'm being moved in a certain way to do a certain thing. And you think it's all going to be roses and popsicles and candy canes. But no, then you have to go on the switchbacks. That's this part in the middle. And that's when it seems like maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I felt really strongly down here in this swirling activity, but now I'm being faced with challenges and changes, and I don't really know what I'm doing. And last week I kind of made that parallel to tacking in sailing, because you're still going on a straight course, but you have to kind of appear to go this way and that way in order to work with the wind and the waves and all the elements. So that's what we do with our life. We're working with all of the cooperative components in the universe, but we don't exactly know how it's all going to turn out. That's what I'm embracing right now. That's what, as a community, you're embracing. But the switchbacks get closer in as you go along. They're shorter, that we learn not to stay in the muck, right? We know our vision is on the divine order. We claim it. The faster we start claiming it and knowing it and seeing it, the more we get to, which this final part of it is representative of enlightenment. And I don't like that term because I think it's overused, and I think that people think you have one moment and suddenly you're enlightened. Don't you love those people? Because they're going to tell you how it is all the time, like I do every week. But I don't think I'm enlightened. I like to call this awareness, right? It's more, I have, at my level of consciousness in this moment, I have a new awareness. And then you move on. But some people, oh, I got it. Yeah, so we're talking about the muckety-muck and the switchbacks. You weren't here, but I'm reading from Chelan's poetry. So this week, I'm going to read you another poem. And I hope I do it justice. It's called Try Human. Forget perfection. Go for messy, learning, tender, whole. Forget brand new, embrace cracked, broken open, worn, rich with story. Forget polish, choose rusted, textured, nuanced, real. Please cease the intimidating flawlessness and become generous in your sharing of your sacred wound. Forget divine, try human. We're always seeking divine in everything we do. We're always seeking that greater understanding of how divine can express through us. But we've got to be in this human experience. That's why we're here. And it's often messy. Anybody ever had a messy moment in their life? In their thoughts, in their relationships, in their words, their actions. Sometimes human beings get messy. But if we can embrace the messiness within our own self, we can more readily embrace the messiness in our loved ones. But it all begins right here. It all begins with our inner work. So this is the other interpretation of unalome that's out there. It's really an overlay of the lotus flower on that part of it that's called the enlightenment piece, or I call it awakening. But the lotus flower, if you've done any kind of meditation, is about opening up, right? It's awareness. It represents, some people use the term enlightenment. I'm reserving that for very few people one person I would say I've been the presence of, that I could feel the energy, and I knew if I had ever been in my lifetime in the presence of Jesus, this was the energy that he would have been emanating. But I want you to look at this flower, the lotus flower. So we're going to talk more about the symbolism of the lotus flower more in depth, not just the unalome itself, but the lotus flower. And why is the lotus flower such an important symbol? It's actually represented in many religions. In Hinduism, it represents eternity, purity, divinity, and is widely used as a symbol of life, fertility, and ever-renewing youth. So it has all of that. So you can see it kind of encompasses, from this definition, the entire unalome, which is a Buddhist symbol. If you are familiar with the chakras, and Norma's been covering this in her Thursday night meditation, but when you move through the chakras, the crown chakra is represented by the lotus flower. Because crown chakra, if you have ever, when you pray, do you sometimes feel this energy on the top of your head? That's activating that connection with the divine. That's your way to awaken, is by connecting yourself. And then in Buddhism, it says it symbolizes purity of enlightened mind arising amidst the suffering of samsara. Samsara is the cycle of death and rebirth to which life in the material world is bound. So samsara is our human condition, right? That's the switchbacks, the muckety-muck. We're a human being. It also represents non-attachment, as it's rooted in the mud, which is symbolic of attachment and desire, but the flower blossoms on long stalks, unsullied by the mud below. So that's the symbol, the mud below. We go through the muckety-muck. We have to do that. We have to reflect. We have to do our inner work. We can't just walk on and ignore these moments. They're not meant to pull us down. They're meant to give us opportunities to move forward, to focus on what we want and what can be powerful in our life. And here's what you probably don't know. Even the Bible uses the lotus flower. Do you remember the story of Job? You've heard the phrase, the patience of Job. So if you are not really familiar with the Bible, the chapter on Job is all about Job, who is a very faithful man. And you think, oh, I'm a faithful person. My life's going to be easy, right? I do my prayer work. I do my meditation. How can I be facing all these challenges? The chapter on Job explains how he goes through personal, family, business, all these one after another. But he remains faithful to what he knows is true. And in this conversation with God, which we all have conversations with God every day, you have that inner voice that speaks to you. This is what is said: under the lotus plants it lies, in the covert of the reeds and in the marsh. The lotus trees cover it for shade, the willows and the water surround it. Even if the river is turbulent, it's not frightened. It is confident through the Jordan, though the Jordan rushes against its mouth. Meaning faith keeps you steady. That inner knowing keeps you steady. If you haven't, and sometimes these traditional words like faith, we go, oh, faith, because we know people who claim to be faithful and we don't really see a demonstration of it. But just let that whole idea of faith, if that's a turnoff to you, like the word prayer is sometimes a turnoff to people, let those traditional words just float on by like a thought in your meditation. What we want to remember is we have the choice of where we put our focus. What we believe in is reflected in our thoughts, in our words, and our actions. What do we believe? That is where we place our faith. Everybody can do that, right? Yes. So I love the Taoist symbol of yin and yang. Yin and yang, but you see it here encircled by the lotus flower. So here's the thought we need to hold on to is the darkness and the light are part of the same thing. We don't just skip Pollyanna through life. I know I've been called a Pollyanna plenty of times. It's not that I don't have a dark thought. It's not that I don't have a difficult emotion. But what I do when I have it is I allow it, and then I choose where to put my focus. You know this phrase, and Norma has used this in her meditation class, energy flows where our attention goes. So if we put our attention on problems and struggles, we're going to have more and more energy to that. But if we have our problems and our struggles and we say, okay, I'm aware, but I'm going to put my attention on what I know shall unfold. I put my attention on my heart's desire. I put my attention on my inner knowing that all is well. So this is the lotus flower in a mucky muck pond, but it's just the bud. And in this form, it represents potential. It's not opening up just yet. This is where many of us have spent most of our life with pure potential, just waiting for us to choose a path, choose a practice that will help us slowly begin to unfold and to open up to that new level of awareness. But it's not just a one-time thing. The Buddhists call it satori, the Hindus call it samadhi, that moment where you just have a knowing. Sometimes people have those experiences using drugs or in sexual experiences and all kinds of ways that you have a moment that it's awakening. But that's not the end point. The unalome continues on and on from whatever level you have moved through your muckety-muck and you've gotten to a new understanding, that awareness, then you've got a new level of understanding of how the world is. From that place, you start choosing differently with your thoughts and your words and your actions. And then you have another level of understanding that unfolds. But at this point, you're just taking steps. That's why affirmations are a good way to sort of prime the mental chatter, to prime yourself to begin slowly to open up. And then even in the darkness, there's these little bitty blooms beginning. And I hope that's what you felt today with Jack's review of this transition process. There's this bloom, this blossom just waiting to unfold. But we have to keep our attention on that possibility. Yes, we know it's surrounded by muck. It might look messy right now, but that's okay. We're going to let it be messy. We're going to go through this human experience, but we're going to hold to what we know is true. We're going to hold to the divinity. And slowly but surely, a little bit more of the possibilities open up to us, a little bit more awareness, another level, another unalome. We move through. It's not just a one-time thing. It's a process over and over through life. And then we get a beautiful flower. And sometimes we don't know what to do with this. We have a new level of awareness, and we're like, whoa, now what? Wait, do I have to change all my relationships? Do I have to learn how to be in this way without all of the safeguards around me? Do I need to take action not knowing what's next? Yeah, sometimes we do. We just have to trust. We just have to go, you know what? This is the right thing at the right moment. And that's where I've made this decision from. This is not a mental thing. Yes, it helped that I was longing for my family, but I think that's also an energy pulling me so that I would willingly allow what's next for you. Because if I'm here, I can't move on, and you can't move on. And that's one thing in discussing with Unity Worldwide. We were originally talking about I would stay till the end of the year. And then in talking with them, they were like, well, the community needs closure before they can start visioning forward. So I was kind of thinking, okay, October 31st. And then as we met together as a board and we came together in one mind of what is best for this community, everyone was in agreement. Let's just do it so there can be the closure, so we can start that creative energy of moving forward. And I was so proud of the board. There was none of that clinging and holding on to the way it's been. Yeah, you can have your feelings about it, but the vision is more important. Knowing that it's unfolding and the beauty that's awaiting, that's what's important. But eventually, when we accept this, look, the mucky muck doesn't look so dark anymore. When we start focusing on this vision, this awareness that there is greater good in play right this moment, everything looks brighter. Every color in this room looks brighter. Every face looks brighter. We can feel our feelings, but we hold to the vision of what we know is real. And it's the awareness that there's only good. There's only absolute good, and we call it God, but every time we do, it kind of shrinks it a little bit. We just have to find, there are no words. You know, like the Tao says, as soon as you name it the Tao, it's no longer the Tao. It is that which we know. We can't name it, but we can use it, we can trust it, we can be an expression of it. So the unalome, I want you to hold on to the vision of the unalome, as you know this is a process. And maybe there will be delays, but at least we have a timeline to start with, right? We know what to do next. We've got momentum, we're moving forward. We've got a time frame, we've got decisions made, we've got good energy, really, really good energy about what's coming next. But trust it. Trust it as a process, and know that it will lead to that new level of awareness, that new level of awakening for this community. Hold to this vision of that awakening, shedding light on anything that could be other than. That pond looks bright and vibrant and not dark and mucky. Hold on to that vision of the lotus flower. I might just print some out and put them around the building before I leave, so that you remember this talk, and remember that's what's coming. And it's amazing. So Buddha said, as the lotus rises on its stalk, unsoiled by the mud and water, so the wise one speaks of peace and is unstained by the opinions of the world. So I invite you to make your decision right now, and those of you out there in virtual world, make a decision right now that this is exciting. You're going to be joyful about it. You're going to only speak words of optimism and possibility. And whoever wants to come and engage you in something other than that, just smile and let it go. Stay focused on the bloom, the many, many points of the lotus flower. So this week in practice, because I always give you homework, right, is look for the possibilities. Meditate on good, open your mind and your heart, and then hold faithful. Create your new belief in the possibilities if you don't already have that optimism. You're going to do that? Hold to, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Lotus flower, that's all you have to say. Lotus flower, lotus, lotus. Somebody starts complaining, lotus, that's your safe word. It's kind of an inappropriate response, comment for Sunday morning, but that's your safe word, lotus, lotus. Thank you.
Thank you.